God, I'm Shop came back once again. Shout out to the video Superman 2025. I just saw it today. Saw it in 3D. And I will get some initial things out the way that doesn't involve the movie. There's no reason my showing the movie starts at 2:30. I got in there at 2:25. The movie didn't start until like 3 o'clock. We don't need 30 minutes of ads. 15, maybe. 20, you're pushing it. 30 minutes of previews, that's ridiculous. Like, come on, what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? Are we watching a movie? Are we watching the Super Bowl? But that's out of the way. On to the movie itself. I say it's a good time. I even say it's a great time. Well, I'm kind of lost for words. Cause the way the movie is told by James, we get to the theories are confirmed and some others will put down, but overall I think it's a good movie. I say it's a solid 8, and it's a great experience. You know, it's going to be spoilers. There's going to be spoilers, but I tell you one. But the movie is told unorthodoxly, and that is, with a normal movie, right? You have a slow rising, right? You might get some early stuff, but it just slowly builds up. You have this massive climax, and by the time you get to part 4 and 5 of the movie, you know you get to the final conclusion. This is different. It goes up and down. It's the perfect way I thought about myself on the 2-hour trip back, because you know I take the bus station now. Is the entirety of this movie is a man relentless pursuit to kill one man because of his own ego and inadequacies. When I say I wanted a Petty Lex, oh my goodness, Nicholas Hoult and James Gunn delivered 100%. I've never seen a specimen so despicable and so evil. Like when I get to the spoilers, like the extent he will go to, because he's so bothered by one man, which probably turns back to his father issues and some other inadequacies. And it's just like, I've never seen a specimen like this. This man is a different breed. But everybody was great. The entire cast, coach, I can't remember her name. The woman who plays Lois Lane, fantastic, great. David Cornsweet and Lois Lane in this movie, you can't find a better duo. The way they bounce off each other, or just the relentless reporter that Lois Lane is. It's just shown through here fully. Just relentless, cutthroat. Lois Lane's the real deal. There's no doubt about it. Jimmy Olsen, oh, Jimmy Olsen is great. Even the I think the boss of the manager of the Daily Bugle. Even though he don't play a major role in the movie, he was great in every scene he was in. That they showed up and made an appearance in. The Justice Gang, Metamorpho, excellent, great. I now understand what the actor meant, how Mr. Terrific is not out of the comic books. And what he meant by that was they didn't use the comic book Mr. Terrific as a blueprint and followed that character one-to-one. They used it as a skeleton and they built it on top of there. They let it flesh out to the story. They let it build on top of there. When I first heard it, it was just like, what is this guy talking about? How they just, well, you know, they read the comic books and just kind of, I now understand. They didn't mean it as, well, you know, they just went a whole different way. They meant it as they used it as a skeleton. They used it as a foundation and built on top of there. Just excellent. Metamorpho, Hawkgirl, and Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner. You gotta fucking love him. I love Guy Gardner personally, but you gotta fucking love him. He's a jackass, and that haircut, that haircut should be against your values. Wait, what? It should be what? But it's great. But it is an orthodox movie. I won't say it's put together normally where it's just like, well, you know, you got the traditional, you know, slowly builds up. Everything you see in this movie plays in the Lex Luthor. Everything. Even to a certain degree to where the story plays out and the mystery of how is this stuff happening? How are these things happening to Superman? How is it just back to back? And I love what James Gunn chose to do, how to enter this universe where this is not starting off as, well, this is Superman's first day on the job and everybody else is already a superhero. This is The best way I thought about it is if you was to open up an issue of Superman and read a great story, or to watch like an animated Superman movie, along the leads of whether it's All-Star Superman or whether it's Superman vs. the Elite. It feels like one of those where the universe is already set in stone, but it's not so far out there where you just we're just out here just lost and just running around with your head cut off. So pretty much, metahumans has always exist. People with special abilities, whether it's through radiation, crashing meteors, and so on and so on, have existed for over 300 years. I don't know if this is established in Creature Commandos, but it's established in this movie with some intro text. Similar to Star Wars, but with a different layout. It's not a scrolling text, but you know, it in form. 3 days ago, David Cornstalk Superman landed and was raised by Ma and John Kent. And once I get to those, excellent performance from those two. Excellent performance. And only 3 years ago, Superman came out as Superman. So David Cornstalk Superman is roughly the oldest he could be is 30. Because it said 3 decades ago from the current point. So the oldest he could, the youngest he could be is 30. And the oldest he can be is like, what, 32, 33, somewhere around there. But it makes more sense that, you know, he came out at 27 as Superman. Well, he showed up as Superman at 27. And now this is like 3 years later and he's 30 and so on and so on. At least that makes more sense to me. Even like 28, like 29, I won't hate it. But I just want him right at that age where he's old enough to be a young Superman, but he's not young enough to be like, well, you know, I'm still learning the ropes. So like it comes in right then and there, fantastic, and it's just, I like the way how you can just go into it, and it really just lay things out as a universe that already exists. I think I kind of lost my overall point here, of where I was going. Well, that's sad. That usually doesn't happen. But that's the way it plays. It's not a movie where it's just like... Well, so goes to another thing. Before I get to the spoilers, you know, break down the movie piece by piece. Well, with the Justice Gang and Metamorpho and all these different things, does it take over the movie? Does it ever feel like it's not a Superman movie? No. Even with Mr. Terrific, even with Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen playing their part, even with Guy Gardner, Hawkgirl, and Metamorpho, it never feels like it takes away from the overall Superman story itself. Everything plays a part. Everything has a piece. Like everything. There's not a character here I could say is even wasted. Even the Daily Planet play their role in reporting on Lex, reporting on Superman, and keeping updated. Even Rick Flag Sr., he plays his part as a government official. I won't describe him as a person that's just doing his job, but it's just he is put in a situation where it's just like he's going back and forth with the politicians over Superman. It's just like he just can't just just wait to see what happens. They have to be a government response to something like this big reveal. They have to be. It's not like he's just doing his job, but it's just like they have to do something, and they just can't sit there and just let it happen. So, and I even like the whole Sokovia plot with the warfare between the two countries of Sokovia and the I think like Eurasia or something like that. You have this big industrial one invading another one. I like that subpart. Does that also play into the Superman thing? It does. And this is a very inspirational type movie. It really is. And this they don't just use the Christopher Reeve Superman theme as a crutch. When you hear the actual Superman theme come in, it happens like 3 times. It's beautiful. Oh my God, it's magical. It's great. It really is. And it's just like multiple times, but it's magical, man. It's magical. Is great when those moments happen. And this is probably, I can't say I ever seen I know of Christopher Reeve Superman. I know what happens in the movies, but I've never sat down and actually watched. That's more of my mother type of thing. I know Superman Returns. You know when it's come on at CW. I know a few episodes of Smallville, but I can't really say that I grew up with Christopher Reeve, so on and so on, right? Not from the spread that line, act like I'm somebody I'm not. But it's just, when you hear that actual theme and it comes in, and it's just, it's beautiful, it's magical, and it really makes you wonder where things are gonna go next from here. Especially since it is a solid foundation to build on from here. I now understand how Supergirl ties into it and why that's going to be the next big movie in the thing. and what the authority should be, because the engineer might she excellently cast, and the way they adapted her abilities from the comics is fantastic. And this is one of the things I love about James Gunn. The way I never understood with the whole Marvel Universe thing or DC is that they always focus on the main characters. Now some might say, well, why is it a bad thing? Well, you only focus on Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman and don't flesh out the rest of the universe like you could, it becomes only about Batman, Superman, and so on and so on. But when you're able to flesh out the world beyond them, or them not being there, that's when you really get to see how everything falls together. And that's how world building goes from, well, that's how the world is, to now we understand how everything works and connect together. Like pieces. Like, it's the main reason how people keep saying that Batman got the best rogue gallery, but they can't name 5 good Scarecrow stories, they can't name 5 good Penguin stories, they can't name 5 good Killer Croc stories, but they keep saying that. Stop the bull. But the engineer, like, I can understand why he want to make an authority movie. The way he take these small scale characters and make them big, so the bigger characters even seen even bigger, is great. And it's a strategy. I don't see why it's taking them so long. Well, James Gunn just like these small characters, but it's a strategy I don't see why more people haven't tried to benefit from. Especially when it comes to, if you're able to build up the Teen Titans, imagine what you can do with a Justice League movie. If you set the foundation with Teen Titans or Young Justice, imagine what you can do with the Justice League. Or you set the foundation with the X-Men or the West Coast Avengers or some other small team. Imagine what you can do with the major lineup. If you can make $1 million with the small time characters, you can at least make $1 billion with the big. Imagine the budgets and so on and so on. So that's why it's important. But the engineer, excellent. We'll get to Ultraman. We'll get to Ultraman. And we will get the Lex. Like, Nicholas Hoult is fantastic. When I say he's petty, like, the pettiness is to a different degree. Like this has to be one of the best Lex I've seen on screen, easily. Cause the pettiness and the ego and the inferiority, the way Nicholas Hoult brings that through his performance, it's fantastic. But I guess we can break down the movie. Spoilers are inbound. If you want to see the movie, I say it's an 8. Watch it, check it out. I describe it as great. But I won't say it's an orthodox movie. It's not normal. Cause that's why when I finished watching the movie, I was like, I liked it. And I started on it. I thought about it on the bus ride home. I started on it. Cause I couldn't really think of like a rating for the movie. And the last time I felt like this was like The Last Night, but I just liked The Last Night, even though I got some nice things in it. But with this movie, I liked it, but it's just, I didn't really know how to place it, because the story and everything is different. It's different. I won't say it got the traditional structure of a story. It's not Pulp Fiction, but it's just the way it plays out. When I say it's all built around Lex, and when you get to the end and see how it all connects, and see how it all connects to that, the movie does seem like an entire movie to bring down Superman out of pure hatred, out of pure spite, out of pure inadequacy. How can I live up and be a better person like the people throughout history when a goody two shoes like Superman is the gold standard? Imagine, you can never run as fast as him. You can never do things he could do. As Lex describes Superman to the government, he is the strongest being on the planet that they know of. But I don't know, Gardner believes he can take Superman. I might want to see that fight. Now, sure, he was knocked out cold by Batman in the comic books, put to sleep. Get him a blanket. Get him a blanket. But I don't know. I was curious. I want to see that. Can Gardner truly rumble with Big Blue? I want to see that fight. I might have to pay for that on pay-per-view. I might have to. Well, we're all on to the spoilers. The movie starts out, with the title crawl explaining, metahumans has been around. Superman showed up 30 years ago, and now he revealed himself 3 years later. And currently, 3 weeks ago, he stopped the war between Bavaria and another country. And currently now, he's getting his wig peeled back, and he's lost the battle for the first time. When I saw that, I was like, what? He lost for the first time? And that's when you get to see when he's crashing down instead of Antarctic. That's when Crypto shows up and do so and so. Crypto is another great part of the movie, because throughout the movie, their dynamic really, it flows out and it feels out, and it's not just that Crypto's a jackass. He's really just, a dog. A very untrained dog that just haven't been trained well. And you get to see who the owner is. It makes sense. Everything that Crypto does in this, like I'm telling you, if you watch the end of the movie, everything at the beginning, the dots will all connect and it'll make sense. Out of that, I think it's like, do I need to watch this movie again? Or just like, cause I just thinking about it, it's just everything makes sense. The way Crypto is acting makes sense. The Superbots thing is really sad. Now, should the Crypto? That's another thing. The whole sneak peek early when Crypto is bringing Superman back to the base, they cut out a lot of key scenes that make it more of a serious scene than how silly it appears. Oh, he's silly, you know. He got the eye rolling. How could he do that? This is supposed to be so and so. It is a more serious scene. When they bring a Superman in and put him into the chair and they analyze him, to help calm him down, they play this footage of Jor-El and I can't remember his mother's name. That's bad on my part. But Jor-El and his wife. That's my part. I should know his name after all her name. Superman mother after all these years. But you know, I mean, speaking in Kryptonian language that you don't understand, but Superman is pretty sure he can. And it's very soothing hearing them talk, hearing the performance portrayed with both of them. It is a more serious scene. It is portrayed quite well. And then like I'm telling you, everything makes sense. But Superman got broken bones, lacerated bladder and intestines. Like, this man has been getting beat like a dog. My goodness, get him some help. Let me get the whole. I'm telling you, everything connects together. So, the Superman's here. He's being tracked by the engineer in Antarctica. We learn from Lex that he's trying to find out where Superman's Fortress of Solitude is. Now, I thought it just moves around. No, it does just go back to the ground and stay in one place. But she knew that he landed somewhere nearby. So, you know, Superman gets up from being rejuvenated, so on and so on, talking to the robots. I never heard the Michael Rooker robot. Apparently, he's Robot 1. I don't know if he got his scenes cut, but I've never heard his voice in this. Like, the same one that played Yondu, that played Merle in The Walking Dead. I know his voice. I've never heard him once in this movie. Maybe he was in the background, but it is a great scene with that. But Superman is healed. He gets back out there, and Crypto, he crashed through the ceiling, and like he knocked over some other stuff. It's just like, oh my gosh. And the Superbot's like, well, you know, he's an unruly dog. You know, we're not biological. He's not gonna listen to us. I'm telling you, the Crypto behavior makes sense when you realize what happens at the end. So Superman goes back out there because this Hammer behavior is giving a speech to Metropolis saying he's tearing things up and he's heat visioning things because this is because of Superman and he interfered and so on and so on. Now with the Hammer behavior, I really was hoping that this was a brand new character created. This is something fresh from James Gunn's mind. And he's still working with Lex, but you know, he is his own character. Wrong. We'll get to that. But Superman comes back from round 2, and when he's fighting this Hammer behavior, Lex Luthor is feeding in the Hammer detailed information. Wait, pause. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. We heard the Hammer behavior talk.
You're 5 o'clock.
Copy.
Wait a minute. Something's not. We'll get back to this. Something's not right here. We'll get to it. You'll see why it's so strange. But he's talking to Metropolis, so on and so on, and Lux is giving him tips on how to beat Superman. For the past 3 years straight, I presume the first time Lex ever laid his eyes on Superman, the unachievable standard, the golden boy in his eyes, the perfection of alien genetics, everything given to him. Everything provided for him. Everything he is by default. A standard that technically no normal human being can ever reach. But then you got people like Batman. Terrific. And other normal people that exist. Even Lex Luthor himself. Imagine he would have took that shortcoming and in self-loathing and turned it into something good. Imagine, right? Then would it be Lex Luthor? And he's feeding the Hammer behavior tips, and Superman is getting his ass whooped. I don't know, it is not just Lex. He got a whole team dedicated with cameras and everything. What happened at the Hammer behavior, giving him tips and feeding him information on what the next thing to do. Because that's how much Lex has been dedicated to studying this one man. This one man. Well, correction. As Lex said, he's not a man. He's an it. For some reason, it become the center of everyone's conversation. I don't know why. When he says that, he sounds like somebody from 1920s or 30s. That become the center of everybody's conversation. not social media, not the news, not the world, but everyone's conversation. It's like a very 1920s thing type to say, in my opinion. Yeah, that's why I was loved that line from the trailer. But that's when Superman gets thrown down and he crashes to the ground, right? Because like they got entire like names for the battle moves and everything. And when he crashes down, when you see that one guy helps him out, in the trailers and stuff, it looks like, well, you know, he could be like the dude can just come back down and just like attack civilians. No, when Superman gets thrown down, the dude goes on, the Hammer of Barabia goes on another speech, and Superman is not immediately getting back up. So when he was getting healed by the sun, he was on like 80%, and he was getting whooped at 100%. 80%, that's not gonna cut it. So when a dude comes over to help him out, he's not getting up immediately. So that's why he comes down there and try to help out Superman. And apparently he helped. Superman has helped him out a few times. He even gave him some free food. Like Superman helps out people, saves people. He's really involved with Metropolis. It's not. It's in a way it does. It doesn't remind me of Sam Raimi, but it is similar to Sam Raimi. But it's more in depth. Where it's just like you can really feel how people feel around Superman, that he actually helps out and so on and so on. This character comes back up, like I said, every piece of the puzzle makes sense. So then he goes back on his speech and he tries to get up, but he just can't. He struggles to get up, and the Hammer of Bravia goes back to Bravia, and the Bravia president. I swear, I thought there was going to be a twist ending where this guy wasn't who he said he is. No, this guy is just an evil scumbag, and he's working with Lex. We'll get to that. we'll get to that, but he is confirmed working with Lex. But after this scene, what else? Lex team is celebrating. They got away with it, and the engineer was able to discern where this Fortress of Solitude was, because when Superman flew back to fight the Hammer, the fortress doesn't immediately go back down. So she was able to see it in the distance, but the time she catches up to it, it goes back to the ground. But she's like, I can drill through, and he's like, no, just come back. We got everything we need, right? It's a good old day, so on and so on. Then we catches up. After this, I believe, yeah, we catches up with we get the whole scene with Clark going to the Daily Bugle, and Jimmy Olsen, the lady. Well, for one, we get to hear Ma and Pa Kent. These are some of the most Kansas country sounding Ma and Pa Kent I've ever heard. Like Ma sounds like she's from Kansas, and Pa is definitely from Kansas. My goodness, it's just I don't know. James Gunn really does bring, like, we never see Smallville, but the Kent farm and so on and so on. It feels like his farm. They feel like they're from Kansas, and so on and so on. So they call them. He coming into the Daily Planet. Some guys heckle him that works with Clark Kent, calling him Elaine, calling him so and so, because he wrote an article about the Hammer of Bravia, but he's just, the article is, I won't say it's artificial, but it's written so uninteresting. It's written so bland. It's written so straight to the point, right? There's no fluff. There's no bombastic, like magical wording to it. It's just he shows up, he leaves, so on. It don't go into detail, but it's explained that, you know, there's no extra spice. There's no extra flavor. It's just given to him just like, well, you know, multiple people have robbed the bank. 3 of them got away. We know that the notorious gang members so-and-so have done so-and-so, and it's just they got in the way of so-and-so, so-and-so. It's just, there's no extra spice, like the Bacall gang came in, shot and took 19 hostages. There was bullets flying everywhere. They got into a fight, shoot out with the police. Blam, 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 blam. Blood, spit, and vomit was flying everywhere. They was able to get away, but the police chief claimed so-and-so and so-and-so. You see how more spice that is compared to the first one? It was more like the first one. So we get off the phone with our mom, Pa Kent, because, you know, things are coming into the background. And Jimmy Olsen, the ladies' man, the heartbreak kid. I love Jimmy Olsen in this movie. The part he plays in Lois, I just love it. And there's some devious activity. Because at the Daily Planet, right, they're acting like Lois and Clark and act like they don't know each other. They don't know each other, but they're not accustomed to each other. They're just co-workers and so on and so on, talking about the article and so on and so on. Jimmy Olsen's a lady man and so on and so on, right? So we get to Lois' house. She comes in, here's some rattling in the kitchen. So I thought it could be Lex, it could be anybody breaking into her house. Cause I thought, you know, this is before Lois and Clark ever met each other. No, Lois and Clark is already in a relationship, and they've been playing Jimmy Olsen like a fool for quite some time. That's rough. I can't blame them, but come on, man. Come on, man. You've been playing like y'all aren't together, but y'all together. And this we get to the interview scene. There's a lot more layers. There's a lot more poking and prodding. I can understand what he meant, but it's like a 12-minute scene, because it is. Because it's not just where, you know, Lois gives an interview and Superman just goes off the handle. He just goes ballistic. He's an animal, so on and so on. It's an interview, seemingly in good faith. But Lois got to play her character as a reporter, and Superman is given some difficult questions and topics that he just... It's not like he can't answer them, but it's like Lois is trying to make a justification to why he should stay out of it and potentially just let innocent people just die. And she keeps going back to Superman being the image of America when this is not what this is about. It does go into more... Superman didn't just show up and just, well, you know, guys, you might want to stop that. Apparently, he flipped over a few tanks, destroyed a few jets, and took the President Bahovia on a joyride where he was peeing all over the place. Now, we don't get that later detail until later when he sees him. But apparently, he didn't just show up and just, you know, quell anything. Apparently, he was... Yeah, nobody died, but, you know, a statement was made. And at this point in the movie, people are aware of what he's did, but no one's actually is turning against him until the Hammer of Baravia showed up like 3 weeks later. Remember, he stopped the war 3 weeks ago, and he showed up today. So now people are thinking, oh, there's some extreme repercussions and so on and so on. And that Bogovian presidents keep trying to paint Superman. We have a good relationship with the U.S., but Superman says otherwise, becoming this major threat. But a shout out to the actor in James Gunn. I hated this son of a gun. I hated him. I hated him. I hated him. Oh, I can't stand him. So it's a whole lot of poking, it's a whole lot of prodding, and it's a whole lot of... Lois then start asking difficult conversations. It's like, well, then you landed on Earth. Like, what if you landed on Earth? Lois. Like, he's trying to be vague, and you know he can't tell him about Ma and Pa Kent. Like, what are you doing? Like, what do you do? Like, even and as a Nimitz reporter, you can easily... And then, like, there's a lot of, like, trying to go on the tape, cutting off the tape, then Lois going off the record, then turning it on. And then when Clark does the same thing, well, you gotta say off the record, you wasn't doing it when you was doing it. So it becomes a frustrating scenario where they're going back and forth when they trying to have this interview, and the interview turns into a halfway decent interview, I guess, but Lois ends up switching the subject, and overall it's done. Clark gets mad, and he's just like, he had enough. I had enough, you know, I prepared breakfast for dinner, and I know. And Lois brings up, he always do this, and he gets mad. Which goes to the thing that there's a lot of humanity in this movie. But Superman gets beat up. The only reason Superman gets beat up is because Lex has been planning this potentially for over 3 years. He has dedicated 3 years of his life to see the downfall of Superman. Like, when I say everything in this movie is not a coincidence, it's not. So in this case, Lex has nothing to do with this, but it's just... There's a lot of humanity. There's a lot of questioning. There's a lot of identity with Superman. And there's just a lot of layers to the core and sweat Superman, what he presented. It's very interesting when you look back on it, think about it. But when he's about to go, and he's just like, well, you know, you always do this, you always act like this. And Lois says, I knew this would never work anyway. Now I assumed that she was talking about the interview, but Clark took it a different way. Clark took it as, I never knew this would work anyway, as in the relationship. But she never elaborates on it, and she never tried to flesh out what she said. So it goes on. You know, this is where we get more further introducing Lex Luthor, and he's talking to the government. We describe Superman as the strongest being on the planet. And what he's trying to do is explain to the government how he's a threat and how the U.S. government can use his personal defense company, Planet Watch, to, you know, to help deal with Superman or any metahumans. And the dude is like, you want the United States government to deal with metahumans by paying you for you can use your metahumans to deal with the metahumans. Then on top of that, you want us to go after Superman with no just cause, with no reason, just a what if. And on top of that what if, not only he got a pretty much a perfect representation to people in the public, we have no reason. Now sure, that could be like a what if or but. Like, well, you know, we know his weakness is also kryptonite. Kryptonite is pretty much gone. Apparently, he's encountered kryptonite on Earth before, but wherever it is, whether it was picked up by Bruce Wayne, like he ordered like 5,000 different pieces of kryptonite. No one knows where it is, but it's pretty hard to come by. So kryptonite is not just a random clutch. As I was saying, kryptonite is not just a clutch, and kryptonite's not a clutch. And Rick Flag explained most kryptonite is gone. So over the past 3 years, Superman have encountered kryptonite, but it's like even if they wanted to use it to get Superman for a what if, that's not even an option. So on top of we have no just cause. On top of, he got a good reputation in the public, so make us look bad. On top of, Lex wanted the United States government to use his company of his personal metahumans in the government and to just expect everything just to go by normal. I don't think privatizing the United States defense would be a good idea by hiring pretty much mercenaries in Planet Watch, on which with the whole. You see those guys flying throughout the trailers and fighting Superman. These are Lex Luthor's personal armed super troopers with the best technology and armor, and they're going around as Planet Watch with Ultraman and the Engineer. Now, before this happens, right, before the whole lore scene, I skipped over this part. The Hammer of Bravia, when it came in to Lex, and they was all cheering earlier, and the Engineer came back, and so on and so on, he goes through a dimensional portal. And he lands in a different country, which is Bravia, and he goes through a dimensional portal in a pocket dimension that Lex made, and he shows up in Lex Tower. He takes off his helmet. It's Ultraman. Oh my goodness. It's Ultraman. He's not a new character. It's Ultraman, but we will get to the Ultraman in the layers of the Ultraman thing, right? But it's Ultraman. Now, Lex's girlfriend here, Tex, does play a good role. Well, we will get none of that. Like it's Tess or Ellie, one of those two. Everything connects, so on and so on, right? So what was that? What was that? Clark and them got an argument. Oh yeah, the defense fund. So pretty much they write Lex off that Planet Watch, there is no just cause to go after Superman, which is why Lex is trying to get to the Fortress of Solitude, because he's gonna go into the Fortress of Solitude to see if there is any hardcore president evidence they take out Super. Right? Now some might say, well, he's doing this invasion. Well, how you gonna keep him away from the Fortress of Solitude? Simple. Well, I can't remember what happens like after the lowest scene, like something happens. I don't think anything major, but like a transition shot. And pretty much Superman isn't there. I'm pretty sure he's in Metropolis. He's not at the Fortress of Solitude. So when Lex is there in Antarctica, he releases the kaiju you see in the trailer. Now it starts off with a baby, which now makes sense why Lex Luthor comes with a baby kaiju with his McFarlane figure. It now makes sense. He releases this creature potentially from a pocket dimension. We don't know where he got it from, but it's rather he made it, which explains why it looks goofy. Because Mr. Handsome was made by Lex, so it's never explained if he made it or he found it. All we know is the kaiju, I don't know if he soaked up water like a sponge or like he was SpongeBob, what he did, but he got real big. He went from 7 feet to like 200 to 300 feet in a short time period. I don't know what he's eating, but apparently whatever that metabolism is, he grew into a big boy. So at this time, Lex, you see the scene in the trailer, is invading. Now the Engineer is concerned because he's like, well, how are we gonna get through the door? He's like, don't worry about that. Like I said before, we get to Ultraman. Well, the door just opened. No voice recognition, no nothing. Opens up and the Superbot's like, hey, Cargo, I put on the your parents' message. You guys not supposed to be here. And the fight with the Superbots commits and they get obliterated. Ultraman's a monster. This man needs to be stopped. He slams one of them right into the control panel. Ultraman, he needed that, you savage. The man, they didn't like the Engineer just tearing things up, just slicing and dicing, cutting through them. It just, they stood no chance. It makes sense why Tex, the girlfriend, is here, because it's not like she's going to get hurt. But that wipes out the Superbots, and Krypto shows up. Alright, Krypto, we'll get something. He scars the Engineer when he jumps on it, but he gets taken out. Now, the way he gets taken out, it's explained later how it happened, but pretty much the Engineer threw some of her nano blood on him, and it pretty much covered up his mouth, and pretty much darn it suffocated the dog. And that's why Krypto is taken out of commission so quickly. So pretty much, Lex is, going through the Fortress of Solitude, doing so and so, looking for what he's looking for, and it comes upon, you know, the Jor-El and his the Superman's mother's message, but it's damaged. The engineer can like hack the technology because you know she's a nanomachine partially, right? But she's trying to like decorrupt the video footage because it was damaged when Superman landed. And as she's doing that, Superman is fighting the kaiju. Some great moments. Uppercutting the point. Like Superman does try. Like compared to Man of Steel, Superman does dedicate a lot of time in saving dogs and trying to make sure when he punches the kaiju, he don't just fall into a building killing people. Or when the Hammer behavior heat vision that one time, he was asking those people, "Are all right? Anybody injured? Everybody's good? All right then." So Corn Sword Superman is very caring, very considerate. So as he's fighting this creature, you know, get the flame on, he's punching him around and hit him with the googly eye special. Superman is trying to find a way to stabilize the creature without killing him. Now this is where my theory is not accurate from the initial analysis. Cause I presume the Justice game, not the Terrifics, the Justice game, without Metamorpho shows up, and they help fight Superman fight the kaiju. Now I assume that, you know, outside of your jurisdiction, so on and so on. No, they just gently shows up to help him out. And, you know, Guy Gardner should do some cool stuff, and Hawkgirl's like Mr. Terrific, like, you know, Superman tried to tell Mr. Terrific, you know, I'm trying to find a way, you know, we could take him somewhere else or to study him. Terrific's like, are you serious? Like, they're trying to kill this thing. And he's like, target the eyes. And Guy Gardner is poking the eyes with some type of device. I don't know what it is. It could be a adult toy for I can't say. And Hawkgirl is hitting him with the mace. But there's a part where Guy Gardner gives the kaiju oven mitts to stop it from clawing at his face. I mean, the Hawkgirl was... It is quite funny in hindsight. And Mr. Terrific analyzes the creature as the engineer is decrypting the footage. She starts to flow up in the air. And pretty much see Mr. Terrific devised a plan to send his T-spheres into the creature's body, explode its stomach, and kill it. What proceeds to happen. And when Superman was trying to stop it from happening. So the creature just collapses. Superman got to stop him from, you know, killing some more people. You know, just softly lands him down and crawl underneath him. Right? The Justice Gang shows up and take credit for it. Everybody's happy and cheering. Superman is hugging the children. And then on the TV, people are giving a reaction. People on the phone just can't believe it. So Lex Luthor has took the original footage of Jor-El, played the first part, and I don't know if he falsely darkened it or changed the audio, or that's what they really said, and made Jor-El parents tell Superman that, you know what, you know, these people are stupid and slow, and it'll be easy for you to take over, for you can invade and destroy everything. And Lex is already on a talk show, and it's being blasted all over CNN, it's social media, and it's just the switch. Because now they're trying to paint like every good deed Superman has done. It's like Omni-Man, and you just trying to lure people guard before you can turn on later. And then like Lex claimed he got a harem, he's gonna breed these super children. Like, wait a minute, wait, what? Lex, what? Lex, why? Like I said, the pettiness is off the charts. So everybody turn on Superman. Because now they believe they took his kindness for weakness and so on and so on. He's just trying to use it to take advantage. And that's when we get the scene where he's walking away. And he goes inside Thrag Industries tower and he just ponders and thinks about his life decisions. And everything he could have believed in could have been a lie. And then the Terrific, the Justice Gang shows up. And Guy Gardner's like, you got a harem? Really? And he's just like, and Superman's like, don't do this now. Like, don't mess with me right now. I'm thinking about something. And he's like, go ahead. And what's you gonna do about it, Big Blue? I'm telling you, man, I might want to see that Superman versus Guy Gardner fight. I might want to see. But Terrific's like, you think it's true? He's just like, and Terrific's like, he know Lex Luthor's sources. There's no way that he could have darkened this footage, according to him. There is a scene later on where Lois says otherwise. Lois believes that it was fake. I don't know if he used AI. I don't know how he did it, but I'm gonna assume that it wasn't real. But Clark never finds out whether it's real or not, right? So at this point, after being heckled and so on and so on, he realized, like, Terrific's like, you know, where they could have got the footage from. Superman's like, wait a minute. That's when he rushes back at full speed. He's blasted through it, rushes to Antarctica, and that's when he finds the Superbots, one of the last few connections to his home planet, slaughtered, eviscerated, and destroyed, and gone offline. And like this is some of the last stuff he had connected to his parents, things like that. And like pretty much everything is ruined. The control panel's ruined. Everything is destroyed, and it's just. I guess he's the last thing from Krypton now. But the post-credit scene and we'll get to the rest stuff. But he is quite devastated from this. And then he thinks about Krypto. Where's Krypto? And that's where we get the whole "Where's the dog?" scene. And he's breaking the Lex Luthor. If everything in context with the public against him, and now he don't took the well, Superman don't like the dog. It's I won't say it's a love-hate relationship, but he doesn't hate the dog. He doesn't want anything bad to happen to the dog, and it's just, it's like the puppy years phase of the dog, and it just, he want anything bad happen to it. So Lex took the gosh damn dog, and he's like, "Where's the dog?" And tests are recording this man. It goes up all over social media. They're painting Superman like he's a monster, and that's when Superman shows up to his apartment, just like how Superman showed up in Lois' apartment. Lois is already there. And turns off the TV. And this is where you get some of the humanity, where he's just, Superman is pretty much mentally, I won't say broken, but very mentally drained. When he really is questioning his life decision. He explains to Lois, "I don't got a hero, and I wasn't sitting here to destroy the planet." Lois like, "Well, I never believe you." And the crux of why this affects Superman more than anything else, it's the fact that the backbone of his identity have been that Jor-El and his mother told him to come to Earth and be an inspiration and to help out humanity. But the possibility that it all could just be a lie and the great deception, that it could not be true, really just affects Superman. When outside the whole shot, how come Superman is putting on his boots and he's not paying attention? That comes from the Justice Gang is already outside fighting potentially Solaris, because the Superman does describe it as a creature from a pocket dimension or another dimension that Lex put out there, potentially. So Lois and Superman's having this conversation, and Lois elaborates on that, what she meant earlier with the whole, it will never work out, that, she's this punk rock person, and she can be quite aggressive in some ways, as is just like, she could be quite cutthroat with her reporting, and so on, and applying pressure to people. And, it's just like, we never really believe this would work. And he says, there's a lot of scenes of inspiration. I'm telling you, that Superman soundtrack, I don't care if they copyright claim the video. As long as I can play it, when you hear that inspirational theme, it's fantastic. But overall, Superman decides, the government was also on the news explaining, we're exploring all options, and he decides to turn himself in, right? Turns and says, and Lois like, "No, like, why would you do that? Do so and so." It's just like, it'll be better for the world. I turn myself in and see what's going to happen from there, and so on and so on. So the day shows up, and Ultraman just slams his man's face into the ground for no reason, for no reason at all. I don't know what this man's ailment is, but Ultraman, brother, you need some help. Need some help. But Superman gets taken in. They put him into a truck. They drive him out someplace. They put him into a plane. They fly him up to Behavior, the same place we seen where Ultraman land, and send him to the pocket dimension. The pocket dimension takes him into a cell, and this is where you get to meet Brother Metamorpho and Lex Luthor and Mr. Handsome, the guy who controls like the conveyor belt. And pretty much, give it a quick spiel. Metamorpho is here. We're getting this whole big spiel from Lex that, the government want to question you and this will be detained. And he's using this he's leasing out space in this pocket dimension to put metahumans to make money on the side while promoting Planet Watch and so on and so on. Like I said, everything is layered. Everything is connected. Everything makes sense. And that's what Leo's spiel and on that. That he's going to be here. Now, when they line Superman up for a sale, because Lex is going to kill Superman if he had it his way. But as Metamorpho is making the kryptonite and causing Superman to get weaker, we see that Lex has a baby across the way with the containment cells that's crying. And he's just like, well, make sure you watch over the guy and make sure that, the babies just don't go anywhere. Superman later connects the dots of whose baby that is and why Metamorpho is inside the cell, right? But Metamorpho has no connection to the Justice Gang, and he later joins the Justice Gang after helping them out. Which, you know, Lex brought in Metamorpho potentially for being arrested for something else. Metamorpho wasn't always a good guy in the comic books at the beginning, so just. But I learned that about Baby Joey from a new Rockstar video. It is what it is. But from that point, Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen is investigating Lex Luthor's connection to the Hammer, to Bravia, because they plan on going to invade again. And the president says, well, you know, we know how he likes his, Superman likes his harem, and he loves Baravian woman. I hate this, man. Shout out to the actor. I despise and I hate this disgusting man. I hate him, and he's pure evil. I hate him. But, what else? The guy goes back after that news report. Yeah, I can wait for it. But Jimmy Olsen and Lex are trying to figure out where they're... Jimmy Olsen and Lois are trying to figure out where they're holding Superman, right? Because Lois don't trust the government holding Superman. He's just like, she's real curious about where it could be, right? Looking all over the place and looking at the Lex shareholdings and why would Lex be giving Balkovia all this money, so on and so on. So Jimmy Olsen is able to get a text from somebody saying, I know where Superman is. He's locked up in another dimension. She's like, what? Like, how? She said, don't worry about it. I got a source close to it. Don't worry about it. I thought James Gunn was just going to leave it at that. But no. The source when it meets up. They're like, wait, what? Oh, like, let's see where this goes. So, yeah. So the Hammer, the president from Behavior gave up that speech about Superman. He goes back to his office. So I thought there was going to be Luthor or somebody else. No, he's just a scumbag. He got his own personal portal. Meets up with Lex Luthor. And gonna meet Superman. Roast him a bit. And this is where some devious activity happens. So you know that guy that helped out Superman? Lex Luthor got him. He got a gun in his hand. And he wanna find out who Superman allies is. Who helping him out. Who raised you as a boy. And or he's gonna shoot this guy in the head. He's gonna play Russian roulette in front of Superman. Superman is like, he's starting to look real sickly. Like, this is probably the worst we've ever seen Superman look with the kryptonite. And the dude's just like, even with everything that's come up about Superman, his undying belief in Superman. He's like, don't tell him anything. I don't even have friends and family. Don't do it, Superman. Don't do it. The first shot goes off, and Lex like, the guy was lucky. But let's see, let's try it again. Blam. Superman don't even get a chance to say anything. Lex just pretty much murders the man. The president from Behavior laughing at it. A man just gets killed. Superman is going through it mentally. So Lois meets up with the Justice Gang with the whole pocket dimension and explains everything that happened to him. And the gang is pretty much like, tough luck. He's just like, we're not going to help him out. We're going to invade a country illegally on a hunch that Lex Luthor could be doing something out there. And they're just going against the government and doing this illegally. God Gardner's not on board. Hawkgirl's not on board. And at the time, we thought Mr. Terrific is not on board. And Lois like, well, you know, that haircut should be against your vow. Wait, what? What? But I'm telling you, I love Nathan Fillion. Even though Hawkgirl pretty much get the same amount of time as Green Lantern in the movie, I do like the actress she plays her. Plays a good role. Lois walks out, Mr. Terrific, well, you know, I helped you out, you know. It's not 100% about this helping out Superman thing, but it is strange what Lex could be doing in this country and Behavior. We gotta go check that out. Right, so they head out there in the T-Spearmobile, and it's just the fact that he got a slow garage. That's pretty funny. So you got all this futuristic technology, but you won't fix the speed on your garage. Lois actually was just like, I just haven't got to it yet. They blast off and they head out there. Superman is still being cooked alive with the radiation from the kryptonite. He's getting more and more sickly. And he asks Rex Metamorpho, is the green baby his son? And he's like, shut up! Don't you talk to me! Shut up! So they're going to hurt the baby. They're going to help baby Joey. They're going to hurt the baby. He's green and everything. And it's just like, he's trying not to talk to Superman. But that was a scene that happened earlier. Rex is now crying because I don't know if he's used to be a superhero or not, but Lex just killed a man, and I guess that wasn't part of the bargain. But he's crying And it's just like that's not what I signed up for, to watch an innocent man get his brains blown out for no reason. So I don't know if he's a superhero or he's just an actor or what he's doing, but you know, he didn't sign up for, you know, for people to get their brains splattered all over the paint. That wasn't a part of the deal, Lex. So I seen happen there. Now when Mr. Terrific and gang shows up in Lex Luthor base, Mr. Terrific, cause like that's the thing we learned out when we was talking with the Justice Gang, is that everybody that Terrific interacts with, he put nanobots in their bloodstream and track 'em. Why? It's just one of his quirks, man. And the reaction of Hawk Girl early is like, hilarious. But then, this you get the scene from the trailer. We got Lois in the dome. Mr. Terrific. If you don't believe him Terrific before, he gets easily one of the best scenes in the movie. Like, he's whooping their ass. My goodness. Like, I can't believe it. I just can't. It's a scene that you gotta see for yourself. It's incredible. If you question what Mr. Terrific can do before, you won't question it after this. He beat at least a good 40 people, and some of those are super troopers and super armor. It's ridiculous. It's excellent. So with that, you know, earlier, when Rex attacked Superman with the kryptonite for trying to talk to him, Superman said, you know, if that's your son, I can get to him if, you know, he just let off the kryptonite. So since Rex changed his mind after watching that man get killed, Rex is just like, you can get to my son? He's like, oh, yeah, I can get to your son. I can get to your boy. And he turns off the kryptonite, but, you know, Superman is struggling to move. He's like, I thought you'd be able to, like, you know, get my boy before he can get harmed. Superman's like, well, you know, it's just, I expected, you know, when you would have stopped things, would have went back to normal, but I need the sun. You know, I need to get healed up. And he's just like, there is no sun here. But like I predicted in that trailer analysis, it was Metamorpho making an artificial sun. I was right. So, what was Jimmy Olsen's source? It's Tess. Lex Luthor's girlfriend used to be a girl from Jimmy Olsen, the lady killer, the Leia Slater. Used to be. And she was the one that told him that Lex was in the pocket dimension. Why? Because apparently, her and Lex's relationship is on the rocks. And it's just, she kind of want to get back with Jimmy, and so on and so on. But you know, if she can find anything back for Jimmy, she got to spend a weekend out with Ellie, as long as she can find some dirt on Lex. I feel bad for Jimmy. I feel real bad for her. Because it seems like he's not really interested in her, and she's strange. And apparently she got a tendency to drop a phone in the toilet, which nasty work, nasty. But, what else? Get back to Rex. Rex is make this artificial sun, and the other prisoners are yelling, trying to get Lex's attention. He's not in the dimension, but to get some type of guard attention, because they are like the Super Trooper guards. I think they're called like Reapers, something like that, or Reppers. They're there, but you know, they're not hearing them. And Rex make this artificial sun is blinding. They see the blinding light, and Superman gets back up. He breaks through. He flies through and saves the baby. He's not at 100% strength because he's still poison. But you know, Super Trooper showed up, and watching Metamorpho go to battle is incredible. Like Metamorpho, like I'm telling you, it's amazing to watch on screen. He can projectile jet himself. He got all the technicals. He exploded himself as acid and just melt a few guards. Is excellent. But Superman got to hold Baby Joey because you know he can't hold things when you know he go intangible and use his abilities. So Superman saves Krypto, but now he's getting jumped by these guards, and Krypto is attacking Mr. Terrific's T-Spears. Somebody said, "What do you mean?" So Lois so Mr. Terrific and Lois was able to activate Lex Luthor's portal he had over there. Remember that Ultraman was able to go through into the pocket dimension. He was able to activate that by hacking it. Now all the guards are pretty much unconscious, but you know he's able to hack into it and use it, right? So they're able to go through it, realize how large this place was, and Mr. Terrific sent out the T-Spears. Because technically, as he warned, you're not supposed to make a pocket dimension because it can collapse in on itself, create a black hole. So we'll get to all those scenes in the trailer, but it explains why certain scenes in the trailer look the way it does, right? So that's where the T-Spears is from, so on and so on. So Superman gets thrown into some dimensional liquid, with a bunch of cubes, and he's trying to fight these super troopers while trying to make sure Baby Joey does not drown, while you're going into a river that flows into a black hole. Able to show up to save them, and they're struggling, but Superman was able to use his super breath and blows them away. Great, because at first he tried to get Krypto, but Krypto kept messing around. He couldn't understand. He at least tried to save the baby Krypto. Who raised this dog? You forget where the dog comes from. But some great scenes. So they able to go back from the portal what Mr. Terrific was in, because the portal can't stay open long, and the longer they keep it open, the more unstable it becomes. Right? So that's when the T-Spirit is able to get found by Mr. Terrific. Finds them after Superman saved Metamorpho and Krypto and the rest of them. They're all saved, and they all go back to the portal, but the portal collapsing on itself. Now get Superman back to a safe place, back to Kansas, and Rex, Metamorpho, runs off with his son and goes back with his wife or girlfriend or whoever he had to be with. And Mr. Terrific's like, oh, it's gonna take about a day or two to heal. Go take him someplace safe. I guess Mr. Terrific stayed there, to watch over the portal to make sure nothing happens, right? So Lex, when he hears Superman has escaped, he flips his shit and starts throwing shit all over the place. Like, when I say a lot of his ego is attached to beating and killing Superman, when I say most of this movie is a plot to kill one man, I'm not even joking. Even get to the point where he gets mad at Ellie / Tess, whatever her name is, start throwing stuff at her until we get the hell out of here. So like I said, their relationships are on the rock. So Tess is upset and goes like a storage closet, calls up Jimmy. He's like, I'll give you all the dirt you need on Lex. I'll give it all to you, so and so, but we gotta get back together and spend a weekend together. And he was like, okay. And so when she's having this conversation, Ultraman can hear her have this conversation. And not too long after that, Lex breaks in with Ultraman, and Tess was able to send the quote-unquote dirt to Jimmy, but she gets dragged off. Now, I assumed she would have got killed, but apparently Lex is not that cold-blooded. He's not that ruthless. He's still a man. Unless he's talking about Superman, then next thing you know, he can just do anything, right? Anybody gets in his way of killing Superman, gonna end up in the casket. But, after that point, Superman is get brought to Kansas. I don't know. He's just seeing John all sad, and he's all concerned for Clark, and he's just like, and Mark is just like he's so mushy with Clark, and he's just a softy, and it's a great scene. But Lois never seen what Clark's personal home looks like, because I was talking about the whole punk rock band thing earlier. After the truth quote unquote got exposed about him. Get to see a lot more of his humanity, the track and field stuff he won, and all the things he participated in the honor roll. Like, it really shows the humanity in Superman, that he's not some omnipotent god. He's a person. He's a living being. I love how that's reiterated in this movie multiple times. But that's pretty much that's when Lois get the quote unquote package from Jimmy. So the dirt that Tess quote unquote had was a bunch of selfies. Hilarious. I thought this wasn't gonna go anywhere. Right? But one of the selfies has a diagram in it. Because throughout the movie you see her take a selfie with darn near pretty much anything. And what you realize is there are important documents and things happening in the background. Right, and it's a map of Behavior. So part of Lex's plan is to sell weapons to Behavior for cheap. And Behavior, when they invade this other country, is going to give Lex Luthor half of the country for himself. Right, that's a part of the deal. And that's when Lois and Jimmy start working on the story for that. And later on goes on to tell, the big wig at the Daily Planet, the whole ordeal. But, we get to see some more heart and soul from Paul Kent. So Superman wakes up, Krypto's on his stomach, and just, alright Krypto, you're gonna be a good dog for now, right? The Krypto's outside messing with the cows, messing with them gosh darn cows. He's out there with the cows. Why is that funny? When Superman's eating some cereal, man. He's eating some cereal. And John Kent comes out there and talks to him. And, Clark is, a lot of his foundation, like I said earlier, was the whole message. Like a lot of Superman's identity is tied up with the whole, what his parents told him as a baby and a part of that message. So the fact that that could not be true, it really breaks Clark down to the foundation. And John Kent tells him it's not about what your parents wanted for you, it's about what you want to become yourself. And what you've heard in that message, the first part, was everything you need to hear. Because no matter what, everything you've done have made me so proud for you. And you got Paul Kent crying and it's sad. It's a great scene, it really is. It's great, unless you get the scene from the trailer from. So I'm glad that Paul Kent is still alive. But that's when Ma comes in. It's just like, Clark, there's something you need to see on the TV. And Bravia is getting invaded again. They got the troops at the border. Even Metamorpho is watching it. Even Guy Gardner, on which some character for this man. What type of person eats cereal and drink milk? Not drink milk from the bowl, but have also a cup of milk next to you. Guard, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you, bro? Why? Why? So Superman thinks about interfering with that, but Mr. Terrific, who was watching that portal, see what Lex chooses to do, since he can't find Superman to finish the job or to kill him, he's going to draw him out. And that's by using this pocket dimension to collapse in on itself to cause a black hole. That's going to attract Superman, right? It starts off at the base, but it travels across the water and it reaches Metropolis base. So Superman got to deal with Bravia, but he also got to help out Mr. Terrific. And Mark, as we get the whole scene with Mark Kent, I cleaned off your boots. Go get him. Let's go get him. So Superman shows up to go help out Mr. Terrific, while Lois in the gang, go to the Daily Planet and reveal the story. They're already evacuating Metropolis at this point, because they know the black hole is coming towards Metropolis and it's going to tear through the city. Everybody's evacuating. Everybody's trying to leave. But when Superman shows up, he gets tackled by Ultraman and they land at the stadium, and that's where we get Superman versus the Engineer, and the Engineer is tag teaming with Ultraman, special edition, 2v1. Let's get it happen. So Terrific only can do so much because they need the codes that Lex Luthor is using to perpetually keep the black hole open before he can shut it down. Right? What else? Yeah. At the same time, Lois and Jimmy Olsen is publishing the story at the Daily Planet. They still got the T-Spearmobile. It's just like, all right, we're gonna publish this story. Jimmy Olsen, you edit it. Everybody just get into the road. We're gonna get out of here. And Lois nearly kills everybody by going off going off the roof. But she's able to regain control and everybody's on the road. And boy, the fight with the Engineer and Ultraman. Oh my goodness, Superman take that big old bastion and slammed him to the ground. What you thought this was? Who you think this is, Billy? What you thought this was? But the tag team is quite vicious. Quite savage. So eventually, the plan is Ultraman with the muscle down Superman, and the Engineer is going to flood his lungs with nanomachines, and eventually he would die of suffocation. Right? Which is very practical. I never really thought about killing Superman that way. Because it's not like they're going to literally force all the oxygen out of his lungs with the nanomachines and kill him. Right? So what is happening? And the behavior stuff happens later on. While this is happening, Superman decides, I'm going to fly up into the air and just, I presume he was trying to get some sunlight, or to hopefully, it will phase the stuff off his face. But the Engineer, Lex tells the Engineer and the Ultraman, get at them. I don't care what he's trying to do, get at them, stay on. And he makes it into the low atmosphere. Everybody's holding on to each other. And I thought Superman, just gave out. Nah, his plan was to fly up into the air, whether they followed him or not, and crash into the ground. And the nanomachines, through the terminal velocity or something, were going to go somewhere. And the Engineer trying to reinforce it and covering Superman with the nanobots, she won't be able to break away with Superman on impact. So all three of them end up crashing into the ground. The Engineer's done. I thought she would be dead. Now the Engineer just unconscious. She'll be picked up later on. But Ultraman gets back up We get a reveal. Now, I was a part of the theory that it could be a Henry Cavill as the clone. No, it's just David Cornsweet as a Bizarro type Ultraman. Now, Lex described him cloning Superman wasn't hard. He just had to find a piece of his DNA after one of his battles. Right? The thing is, Lex described Ultraman as being really dumb. The thing is that that was just a pre-recorded clip when the Hammer Bravia was talking, or just Ultraman slash Bizarro just choose not to talk.
Back. You're 5 o'clock.
Copy.
I don't know. And then like there's a whole lot of stuff like him listening on tests. No one told him to do that. Or the way like when Superman showed up, he slammed his face into the ground. No one told him to do that either. It's not like he's just a brain dead machine. He does have his own autonomy to a certain degree. But it's just that's what I said. Like on the second watching, it just like you can see the layers on top of this movie. You can see how it just maybe watching it just one time is might have to go back and watch this again. Because Lex described him as extremely dumb but stronger than base Superman. But it's not like he's like that man-child Adam Warlock type dumb. I guess he's just not that really intelligent, but he can get the job done. And yeah, he got a whole lot of personality for someone that's just dumb. Now he does like yell once or twice, like a maniac, but it's not like a man-child yelling. It's like a charging type yell at Superman. Hit him with the heat vision. I thought about, but what if the Hammer Bravia heat vision and his heat vision look different? The Hammer Bravia got a visor, don't he? Just focus the heat vision through the visor. Solve that problem. So part 2 of the fight happening. They're going across the city, and Ultraman is still getting fed by Lex. Cause Lex got a bunch of drones following Ultraman most of the time. So not only are they recording this happening, and they can see through Ultraman's eyes. So I think Ultraman is partially a cyborg, but I don't know what degree. Cause Lex can see through his eyes. But he also had the drones following him, like giving him updates and telling what Lex what to do, telling Bizarro slash Ultraman what to do next, so that he can beat Superman. And that's where we get the whole it's tearing through Metropolis and Superman and Ultraman still fighting, so on and so on. Mr. Terrific is still down there trying to figure out a way to stop this, and it's tearing through like Metropolis gets split clean in two by this black hole incursion type thing. Clean in two, and it's about to ruin another city. So Superman gotta hurry up, right? So Superman realized the solution to this. Superman getting beat and mollywopped, and while bleeding, Lex make a comment. It's always brains over bronze, because everything's been given to you, but it's my brain, my existence that goes against you. And Superman laughs at this, and he's like, "What's so funny?" And he says, "Brains over bronze." And he calls in Crypto. Crypto takes out the security, the watching drones, so Lex can't see and coach Ultraman through being Superman. And he just Superman started to put the Wombo combo on Ultraman. But like I said before, Ultraman is not gonna go out that easy. So the black hole is forming, things are collapsing. Eventually, just by bad planning, Superman pretty much let a building hits Ultraman. He goes into a black hole. Hopefully he's not dead. Now I don't want to see a traditional Bizarro. Maybe he might go somewhere else. Maybe, just maybe, because he don't have any ailments really. He just looks like David Cornsweet, just with longer hair. So he could easily go somewhere else and become the actual Ultraman, or become his own type of character. Who knows how that's gonna turn out. But you know, Superman's all tired, and then we get the whole, well, you know, hey, stop playing around. I'm not playing around. I got doing a whole bunch of support stuff. So Ultraman engineers down. But Lex is like, all right, send up the Super Troopers from Planet Watch. He's still weak. We can still get him. And then you get to get another tag team scene with Crypto, Superman, tag team and the Super Troopers, Heat Vision. They're going ballistic. I'm telling you, the whole Superman knocking out his teeth. Seeing that shit in 3D is magical. Like the 3D in this movie is great. Which goes to another thing. The reason why the flying scenes look odd in the trailers and stuff, where you get to see David Cornsweet's face, not because of bad cinematography, it's purely because the movie, in my opinion, seems like it's made and shot for 3D. You can watch it in 2D, with a 3D, with the whole, you can see how in-depth the scene is. It really fits a lot better. And a lot of the scenes make a lot more sense, and it fits way better, right? But what about the behavior situation? Well, they're invading, and even against all odds, the barbarians are at the door. The barbarians are still crying Superman. And that's what you get to see in the trailer where the kid pulls up and he's calling on Superman. The fence break down and the president says, kill him all, kill everybody you can. They're coming in and just, everybody's running, tripping over each other. And just when they're about to shoot the kid holding up the flag, Guy Gardner shows up. And it's just like, well, Superman couldn't show up, but someone better did. And you got Guy Gardner, Hawk Girl, and they're tearing, and Metamorpho tearing up in Mahopia. It's magical. It's great. I don't think with anybody else you get to see this on screen. Anybody else. So let's swap to the president. So Hawk Girl is on the president duty, tracking him down, putting you on the wombo combo. And the dudes get thrown, like, that get tackled through the window. He's like, you'll never kill me. You like that good two-shoe Superman. She's like, no, I'm not. Goodbye. And dropped him. He gone, baby. He go. So Lois in the game from the Daily Planet, Jimmy Olsen's able to publish the article. Man, when he was fighting the kaiju, Lex still got Superman to deal with, right? So when the dimension split came through Metropolis, the reason why LexCorp looked the way it does is because that middle piece can break off into his own spaceship and hover, fly by itself. So they still gotta find Lex Luthor and like stop the black hole thing. He's the only one who got the codes, right? They gotta look for him. But at the same time, Lex is like, all right, ran out of option. But what about this other town? I don't care. They chose to side with him. Let him die. We gotta get out of here. So they're about to activate the pocket dimension. Lex tackled this man into just come through and tackles the man. No one going anywhere. Terrific was able to stop the portal, and this is where we really get to see when Lex melted down his real issue with Superman. And how like we learned earlier, what about the whole behavior thing? The only thing Lex cared about out of that deal wasn't to get his own part of the country. The only thing he cared about was the government legally allowing him to kill Superman. Everything else was just icing on top. It was truly Lex killing Superman was all he cared about. Because just like the greats that came before him, so on and so on, he had like this inadequacy, this complex, this self-esteem issue with Superman as a concept, a man beyond a normal man. He refused to accept that most people can't achieve that he can't allow that to exist, and him to exist at the same time. And then Superman get this inspirational speech where, you know, that's the thing, Lex Luthor, I am human. I'm more human just like anybody else. I go through the same. And with the Superman theme in the background, it's beautiful. It's beautiful, man. It's beautiful. It's inspiring. It's incredible. But that's when Crypto comes in and give Luthor the wombo combo, just throw him. So the reason why he's blooded up in the trailer and stuff, it wasn't just he got into a fight with Superman. It's just Crypto just being a bad dog and giving him that wombo combo treatment and throwing him around. Superman can't, like, he doesn't physically try to stop him, but he's trying to tell Crypto to stop. So by the time Crypto gets done with Lex, that's when Lex, just like Superman, finds out the world has turned on him. They revealed the plot. Everything, how Lex forged everything and did everything wrong. He had this whole plot with Sokovia and he made so and so, everything. Jimmy Olsen's the one who's able to publish it. They blow the lid off and Lex is just exposed. His ass is going to jail. And this we get the scene from the trailer where he cries. And it really emphasized with the cinematography, with the two looking at each other, that from this point forward, Lex, if he despised him before, he truly hates Superman now. Because now, not only has he ruined Lex's grand plans to kill him, he collapsed his house of cards on top of him and exposed him to the public as a horrible human being that he is. Unacceptable. Now, there's no. It really shows that there's no going back here. There's no going back now. There's no going back. So Lex get taken off to jail. Things are better. The T-Field lands. Everybody pretty much is happy. They're getting cheered on in Sokovia. And this is like Hawkgirl's like, well, you know, he could join the team. He's like, Guy Gardner's like, there's no way a guy like that joins the team. And when I'm also like, the Justice Gang, that's a great name. And guys like, all right, you're right. Because everybody been saying that name was trash throughout the whole movie. And now it's just like, someone agrees with it, I can't turn him down. He got to join. So eventually Superman meets Lois. He's like, you want to go for an interview? You know, I could tell you, explain everything that happened. And they go off to a building and get the whole scene from the trailer where they're kissing and flying up. And the guy, the head guy from the Daily Planet is just like, how long that's been going on? Like a few months. Well, everybody just knows Lois got a relationship with Superman like this. And the true question is, do they know that Clark is Superman? We don't know. Because the whole plot with the secret identity thing is, it's not necessarily if a few people know it that they're going to tell it on. So it's not like no one can truly know it, but from that same point, you can't trust everybody. So it's just, we don't know that. So overall, that's more or less ends. And somebody said, well, isn't it exist like outside Ultraman? Isn't that like a big connected battle? The battle was ruining Lex Luthor's plan. When he couldn't kill Superman, he was going to destroy Metropolis and to draw out Superman to try to kill him again. Because he no longer had Metamorpho. Ultraman and the Engineer was going to tag team him and kill him. When those two failed, it was, alright guys, wrap it up. We're going to retreat. We're going to go back and lick our wounds. Lex can't do that now. And the best way to defeat Lex is not by brute strength. You got to outsmart him. And that's where Lois Lane comes in with Jimmy Olsen and exposing his whole tirade to paint Superman as a villain. I don't know if they exposed that he fabricated the footage, but I do know it's a lie. Even the news reporters are like, we owe Superman an apology. The Ultraman is in a different dimension, wherever he went through with that black hole. I'm pretty sure they go pick up the Engineer. Lex is getting hauled off to jail, so on and so on. So remember I told you with the whole crypto thing. So at the end, Superman goes back to the Fortress of Solitude. The robots rebuild themselves, and so on and so on. He's like, you never did name me, but one is a good thing. I'm telling you, like, these robots have more personality than they're letting on. They really do. But then somebody crashes in. Now I thought this was just gonna be Crypto who crashed in, that's it. But it turns out the person that crashed in, just like how Crypto crashed into the Fortress of Solitude, it was Supergirl. It was Supergirl. And apparently she has spent her time out there partying on a red sun planet. She's able to get drunk and everything. She's just been living it up. Crypto is Supergirl's dog. So Superman has just been watching Crypto this whole time. So we don't know who gave Crypto the cape between the two of them. But yes, Zor-El, Superman cousin, I believe that's her name, I could be wrong, is the owner's Crypto, and that's the reason why Crypto acts like that. So the reason why Crypto was jumping all over Superman, that wasn't just some comedy act. That's how Supergirl raised him to be. So every scene in the movie makes sense because Supergirl don't raise them wrong. So that's what I meant, how everything makes sense. So she takes Crypto off and she heads off, and it's just like, ugh. So there's not really a post-credit scene. There's a few comedy gags and Superman having a good time with Crypto on the moon. That whole poster shot. But outside of that, there's no post-credit scene. But overall, I enjoyed the movie. I think it's a solid 8. Solid. I'm telling you, you might have to watch this movie twice. When you piece all those things together, everything in the movie makes sense, because everything is Lex trying everything he can to not only discredit Superman, but to a lot of feds to kill him, and the general public to kill him, because he's worldwide renowned. He's loved by everybody. So you just can't just kill somebody like that outright. So he manipulates everybody and everyone to get to that sole point, to kill one man. Because of his own inadequacies. Because of his own shortcomings and insecurity, to kill one man. Sad. Sad. But yeah, that's more or less the whole movie. This was not supposed to be over an hour. That's too bad for me. But let's say that it is an 8. It is a great movie. Because when you think about it, just like yeah, all those dots do connect. All of that makes sense, all of it. The reason why Tess would start falling out with Lex, because Lex don't really care about like that, which led to her contacting Jimmy Olsen, giving the information, and so on and so on. It all makes sense. All of it. Especially with the whole, well, How would they get all the information besides from the map? Tess was taking selfies with everything Lex did. Everything. So he took a selfie on a table of important documents with behavior, and Lex just said nothing about it. Fuck, my goodness, this man here, nothing about it. Just then again, he never really expected her to turn his back on him, cause you know, it was kind of a thing. So I just, yeah. And ironically, up until the whole his business got put out there, he potentially could have got away with it if Superman wasn't fast that darn quick. So anyway, I say it's a great movie. It's a great time. It's really thinking back on it. It is a solid day. Fun time. I say I recommend it. Take your kids and so on and so into. I will say this: there is some language in there. The term "shit" is used a lot. Well, not a lot, but it's there. So you know, just I have no comment to that. I'm not saying it shouldn't be there, but you know, some parents are some sensitive to that type of thing. I'm not some well, you know, everything gotta be for the kids, but you know, people gotta be aware of those things, you know. I don't know. But overall, I enjoyed the movie, enjoyed my time with it. This video gonna take a whole lot of time to edit. The plight of my existence, boy, the plight. I do this to myself. But overall, I enjoyed the movie. Liked it. And I'm very interested to see what's next. It is confirmed that Lobo is in Supergirl Wonder Woman tomorrow. But I am concerned with the inspiration I'm getting from with the Supergirl thing. With the whole finding her identity and where does she find her place in the world. Because that World of Tomorrow, the Woman of Tomorrow book is a already established Supergirl. And I don't know. I'm just concerned about it. About how it's going to turn out and how, you know, so and so is going to happen with Supergirl and so on. I'm curious. Now, Krypto in the comic is Superman's dog. That's factual. But in the universe, well, just make him Krypto's dog. Which in that case, it's technically Supergirl is technically born before Superman and was like 16 when Kandor got frozen and she got sent off from Kandor and Brainiac and so on and so on and so on. So technically, it would make sense. Well, come in my pod, Krypto. Those dots all connect together. But yeah. If there already is one super person, and the planet already have their own metahumans and superheroes, then what does Supergirl supposed to do in her life? Who knows? But that's the next big installment that we know of that's coming out next year. It's already filmed, so and so. Who's the main villain? Haven't been revealed. We know that Lobo does show up, but he's not the main villain. Arguably, he might show up for a good 15 minutes, maybe, and be at the movie. More than likely. But, because Jason Momoa said his scenes are already wrapped, but they're still filming the movie. So that's why I say that. So, I don't know. It's been Mr. Joshua King. That's been my thoughts and opinion about Superman. It's a very inspirational story. Very. There's a certain moment sitting in my seat hearing that amazing theme. It's just like the inspiration. Like, this is the Superman. This is the man who embodied humanity, even though he's an alien. Born and raised in Kansas to two normal parents. And then we get this montage where I guess he's gonna get healed up again. And instead of playing Jor-El, since he's 50-50 about how his parents sent him to the planet, and since his cousin wasn't there, he can ask her, for Superman can ask him more about Krypton and how it was like before it blew up. He don't really know. So now he's watching footage of Ma and Pa Kent and them growing up, and it's just, I don't know. It was a great scene. Seeing how compassionate Ma and Pa Kent is. He's just raising Clark, and I don't know. It is incredible. Are you serious? Did I just go through a building? What? I played this game for years. I've never phased through a building like this. This is ridiculous. Here's what it's been. WK. Hope you guys liked the video. Like, comment, subscribe, and peace.